Hello guys, and welcome to another Blender tutorial. So today I'm going to be showing you guys step by step in part 1 of how to make this pencil sharpening animation. It's not really that realistic. I mean, in real life a pencil sharpener would be making little bits coming out that are a lot more broken and jaggedy, but it's more just experimenting and kind of just getting the concept out there. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So like I said, this is part 1, and I will be making the blend files available on my Patreon as well. So let's get started with this fun little tutorial. So we're going to get started by selecting all of the default objects. We're going to hit X and then delete. We're then going to go Shift A, and we're going to go to our mesh options. We're going to add in a cylinder, and down over here you can see an add cylinder button. You're going to click on that, and you're going to go up here to where it says the vertices, and let's make that value 5. Okay, so we want 5 vertices, and this is going to be the shape of our pencil, the cross-cut section of our pencil. So let's come here and drop that down. And with this length of the pencil, it can be anything you want to. So let's just tab into edit mode. And in edit mode, make sure everything is selected. You're going to go S, Z, and you can make the pencil as tall as you want. So I'm just going to, for now, go with this. I'm not too worried about it because for the specific animation I'm doing, I'm not going to be seeing the actual full pencil in the animation, so it doesn't really matter. But just something like this should be okay. We're then going to just go to the face select option and select this face here. And we're going to hit X and delete that face. And also just select the top face here. Just go hit X and delete that face. So what we're going to do now is hit A to select all of the geometry. We're going to right click and we're going to go subdivide. And we're going to come here to the subdivide button. And let's just give it something like 5. 5 subdivisions should be okay. And then we're going to deselect everything, and we're going to go to our edge select option here, and we're going to go Shift A, click on an edge here, so to loop select an edge at the bottom. And then in our front orthographic view, we're going to go E to extrude and Z to lock it to the Z axis. We're going to come down to about this much, and we're going to go S to scale it. So just S to scale it and make a sharp point. Now at the moment, if we were to tab out of edit mode, you can see here, the rest looks like a pencil, but down here it's not round like we see on an actual pencil. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and while we still have that edge selected down there, we have that edge active. We're going to go Shift Alt S, and we're going to round it out. So Shift Alt S. You can also come here and just use the smooth tool if you want. So Shift Alt S. And now we're going to come hovering over one of these edges. We're going to go Control R or Command R. You're going to see this yellow line. Double click and then double G just to slide it up. And slide it up to about here. And at this point, we're going to go Shift Alt S again. And this time not all the way, but just a little bit. And then we're just going to also just scale it a little bit like that. And now we're going to come in here in the middle. Control R again to add in a cut. Double click, and then we're going to go Shift Alt S and round it out even more. So we're just trying to create this transition from a rectangle object into a round object. Like this, it looks like a pencil. So that should be okay for now. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to object mode, and we're just going to enable shade smooth. So go into object mode, go to object, and enable shade smooth, like that. Then we're going to go to our materials tab, and we're going to hit new. And let's just call this pencil and skin. So pencil, skin. And we're going to come here to our viewport display, and we're simply just going to give it a color so we can see the different colors in the viewport. So I'm just going to make it kind of yellowish. It doesn't matter, this is just a viewport display, it's not the final material. And then we're going to click on the plus again, and we're going to go new, and let's just call this wood. And we're going to go down to our settings under the viewport display with this one, and let's give that one a lighter kind of woody color. Now we're going to tab into edit mode, and in our front view, hit Z, go into wireframe, and we're just going to select all of these bottom faces like this, and we're going to click on a wood material in edit mode, and we're going to click assign. So now we can see that we have that separate material assigned there. And let's just come here to the tip, and we're going to go Control R, add in another loop cut, and double G just to slide it down to about here. We're just creating the tip of the pencil. Shift Alt, just click on a loop, an edge here to loop selected, and just bring it down just a little bit more, and then S to scale it, just to sharpen that point out. It doesn't even have to be closed, you're not really going to see it, so don't worry about filling that hole. Then while those are active, we're going to hit Control plus just to grow the selection. So we have the tip here selected, and we're going to go plus, new, and let's just call this lead, and assign that, and let's go to our viewport display color and make it something like dark gray or black, just to create a pencil lead. Now it's up to you how much pencil lead you want to see. So you can select this edge here and you hit double G to slide it, and you can control the size that way. So I'm just going to go with something like that. So that is pretty much how to make a pencil as far as that goes. And then what we're going to do is up here, you don't have to do this because we're not going to be seeing this in the animation, but I'm going to quickly show you a quick and dirty way to add an eraser end here. So we're going to select this edge. We're going to go E to extrude, S to scale it in a bit, and then we're going to go Shift Alt S, and we're going to round that out. Then we're going to go E to extrude and Z to extrude up on a Z, and then E to extrude, S to scale, just a little bit, and then we're going to go E, Z, and extrude it up. And then we're going to hit F to fill that. And with that still selected, we're going to hit Control B or Command B, and we're going to create a bevel and roll our middle mouse button to add in some sections. Then you can go Control plus to grow that selection. And then we can come here to materials, click plus, new, assign, and let's call it eraser. Okay. And then we go over here and let's just give it a material. So there you have the razor top. You can come in here and edit it as much as you want. You can add the little metal plate that usually goes around to hold it in. Completely up to you. So that's, like I said, it's not really that relevant to this specific animation we're doing, but if you wanted to add an end, that's how you could do it. So this is already a fairly, from a topology point of view, it's already a fairly good looking pencil. It kind of makes sense, but you can work on it as much as you want. So now let's get started with making the rest of our objects here. In fact, before we do that, let's just select the pencil and quickly go into edit mode. And in edit mode, just select everything and go G, Z, and just move it up till the whole pencil in edit mode is kind of sitting on the floor here. And we can see our origin point. If we tab out of edit mode, that little orange dot there, that's our origin point. So if we now rotate it in object mode, we can see it rotates around that origin point. So once you have that done, we're going to model the next thing, which is a little bit trickier to do, but it's not too bad. So just follow along with me. We're going to make the eraser. So let's go Shift A. We're going to add in a cube. And at the moment, you can see that we could scale the cube up, but I'm going to select the pencil itself. And I'm just going to go S to scale it down. So S to scale it, and let's scale the pencil about that much. Okay, so I'm going to go about like that. Okay, so you can see here the cube for reference. And once we scaled the pencil, just make sure to go Control A and just apply that scale. It's important. And now we can select the cube here, and we're going to tab into edit mode. And we're going to go G, Z, and we're going to bring it up, holding in Control to snap it. And we're going to snap it to the floor, like that. And then we're going to hit 3 to go into our right orthographic view. And we're going to go S, Y, and we're going to scale it in on the Y axis, about that much. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our front orthographic view, and we're just going to select these verts at the top. I'm going to go G, Z, we're going to bring them down about halfway. So about that much there. And now while we're in our front view here, we're in our front orthographic view, we're going to select everything, go S, Z, and scale it in on the Z, like that. And then we're going to come in here, and we're going to go into Wireframe, and we're going to hover over one of these edges. We're going to go Control R. You're going to see the yellow line, double click, double G, and just slide up an edge cut like that. So we're just going to slide it to the top of where this pencil starts, roughly. Maybe just a little bit lower, right about there. And then we're going to go into our right orthographic view again. And over here, we're going to select on the, so in your right orthographic view, by hitting 3 on your number pad, you're going to select these ones to your left, these verts, and you can go G, Y, and you're going to move them in on the Y, like this. And then you can select these bottom verts, and back in your right orthographic view, you can go G, Y, and move them in. What we're trying to do is kind of match, roughly, the angle of this pencil here, the pointy end, with this angle here, this face here. Okay, so just get it roughly in the ballpark there. And you can select this face and just bring it back a bit. So we're just trying to create a very rough looking eraser. And now we're going to use some Boolean operations here to further work on this. So let's start by, first of all, going to our modifiers. And we're going to just, with the sharpener selected, we're going to go Control A, and we're going to apply the scale. And then we're going to go to our modifiers. We're going to give it a bevel modifier. I'm going to come here to the angle, leave it as such, but make sure the limit method is angle. And come here to the amount and bring it down a bit, and then increase the segment count. And you can make whatever you want, but don't go too much. So something like that, and then you can go to object mode and enable shade smooth. So now we can perform a Boolean operation on this. So let's go Shift A. Let's add in the cutter. So let's add in a cylinder. And let's go to add cylinder settings, and let's make it 32 vertices. And with this active, we're going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to go RZ90, and we're going to hit enter to rotate it 90 degrees on the X. So RX90 to rotate it 90 degrees like this. And in your front orthographic view, you're going to select all of these bottom verts like this, and you go E to extrude and Z, and you can extrude it down on the Z like that. And while we have all of that active there, you're going to go SZ0 to flatten that out. And you're going to tab out of edit mode. And now you can just scale this object down, and you're going to go G, Z, and bring it up. So what we're trying to do is just place it in front of the pencil here and the sharpener, but we want to scale this till the round part at the top is the same width roughly as the pencil. We then want to go G, Z, and just position it on the Z till it is just about where the pencil ends and the wooden part starts, around about there. Tab into edit mode and just select these bottom verts, and you can go G, Z, and just move them up a bit, but not all the way. Then you're going to go into your right orthographic view. You're going to select all of these, and you're going to go S, Y, and scale them on the Y a bit more. Then you can go G, Y, and move them forward a bit on the Y, like that. Now we can tab out of edit mode, and we're going to go with this cutter object still active. We're going to go over to our object properties. We're going to go to visibility. We're going to turn off render so we don't see that object in the render. We're going to go to viewport display, and we're going to make the display as wire. We're now going to select our sharpener. We're going to go to modifiers, and let's add in another modifier. Let's add in a Boolean. Click on the eyedropper. We're going to select this cutter object here, and you can now see it's cutting in like that. And we're also going to go and add a bevel and edge split modifier. So add an edge split modifier to clean that geometry up a little bit. So we can now select this cutter object. We can leave it in the scene because we've already disabled the rendering and we've made it wire so you can see through it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this cutter object. I'm going to hit M to move it, and I'm going to go new collection, and I'm going to call it cutter. And I'm going to go OK. And up here in the collections, I can now untick the cutter layer, and we don't see that anymore. So that's all out of the way. And now we can simply model our blade as well. So with the blade, let's go Shift A. Let's add in a plane. We're going to go into edit mode, and with the plane selected, we're going to go RX90. I'm going to hit enter. And then we're going to go S to scale it down, like so. So it's roughly the width of this channel here, or this cut in here. And we're going to go S, Z, and we're going to scale it up on the Z to make it a bit taller. And then we're going to move it up. So something like that. We want to bring the top of it down. We just want this blade to kind of be sitting in here like that, if that makes sense. And then we're going to go to our right orthographic view and select the whole plane. At the front part of it, I'm going to go, in fact, select the whole thing and then just go E to extrude it. We're just extruding it out to give the blade some thickness, like that, as you can see. And then we're going to come in here and go Control R, add in a loop cut, and then we're going to go double G to slide that, double G to slide it, and then we're going to go to edge select and just select one of these edges here, and we're going to go double G just to slide it in, and we're going to just bring it down. And the reason we're doing this is to make it look sharper, like that. And now we've got a blade here. So if I just quickly hide everything else, you can see this is what the blade looks like. Okay, and let's just go bring that back. Now we only have to position the blade. So what we can do to fix that issue is we can rotate, go into edit mode, and we can select everything and R to rotate it. And we're just going to bring it in and match up with the angle of our pencil there. Go into your front view if you have to. And depending on which way your pencil is going to be turning, this can be different. So if you want it coming out from this way, going out towards there, and the pencil turning in like this, then you can place it on this side. But for me, I'm going to do the other side. So what I'm simply going to do with this blade selected in edit mode, I'm going to go SX -1, and it's going to invert it like that. So now the blade is facing the other way, and I can go G, X, and just move it in a bit. And let's just put it roughly about there. And don't worry here about the sharpener intersecting. We're going to tab out of edit mode and select the sharpener. And in edit mode, we can simply just select these and just move them forward a bit to fix that issue. So you can also grab your blade and just adjust it. All we're trying to do is get this to this point where it's lining up with all of this here, as you can see. So now those bits are in place. And this is not 100% like, you know, all the sharpeners out there, but this is kind of as close as you can get a sharpener kind of. I kind of had a look at my own sharpener as a reference. So something like this should be fine. And at any time you can come in here and just adjust the actual proportions, because it doesn't really matter. Because once we go into object mode, we've got these modifiers here that are doing the Boolean operation, and that should all look okay. So now we have the sharpener done. That was a bit of a tricky part there. We also have the blade set up and all that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and just add in the actual bit of wood that comes out when we're sharpening the pencil. So let's add that in. So the way I made that is I went Shift A, I added in a plane, and we can tab into edit mode, and with this plane selected, we're going to go RX90, hit enter, and we're going to hit S to scale it down. Just scale it down. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to make this, so let's just quickly tab out and just select to erase the sharpener and hit H to hide it, and select the blade. Just hide that as well. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to make this bit here in edit mode. Just bring it up. We're trying to make it the same height as the pencil part, the wood and lead part of the pencil down here, like that. So once you have that all set up there like that, what you're going to do is you're going to go S, X, and you're going to scale it along the X. Now it really depends on how long you want the bit coming out to be, but for me, just something like this, maybe a little bit longer than the pencil, something like that should be fine. So I'm just going to scale it out like that. And then we need to add in some extra geometry. So let's go hover over one of these edges, and you can see the yellow line appearing. We're going to roll our middle mouse button, and we want to get the segments in here. Just roll them in till we have something that looks like this. So we just wanted the geometry to be able to deform. That's why we're doing it. So just something like that should be fine. And then we're going to come in here. We're going to go Control R, add in a loop, double click, double G, slide it down to about here. And we want this to line up with the lead part here. Okay, so just move it up till it's lining up with the pencil tip here, the lead. And what we can do here is just select the whole top verts and go G, Z, just move it up just a little bit. And then over here, we're going to come in Control R, double click, double G, and just slide up a little bit like that. And this is just going to be the little bit of pencil outer casing that you see sometimes when you're sharpening your pencil. That's why we've got that little bit there. So let's quickly go down Materials tab, come to the Materials drop down, and let's give it the wood material. Then we're going to click on the little plus, and we're going to come to the drop down, give it the lead. Then we're going to select all of these bottom verts, and we're going to assign that lead material. And then we're going to do the same with the top verts here. Just select them, hit plus, and then give it that pencil skin material we created earlier, and assign that. So now you can see it matches up with that. We can now go back into edit mode and just select every second set of verts like this. I'm going to start here. I'm going to skip to select these, and I'm just holding in shift while I do this. So I'm just going and selecting every second one. And once I've got all of them selected, I'm going to go G, Z, and I'm just going to bring up just a little bit like that. And that should be enough. And then we can come over here and just select every other vert down here and just go G, Z, and move it up a little bit, just to create a little bit of imperfection in the bottom here as well. We don't all want it to look exactly perfect. So just something like that. Okay, so just something like that. And we'll worry about the materials later, but that should be what it looks like. And if you want to, you can just come over here to your modifiers, give it a solidify modifier, just to give it some thickness, and that should be fine. You don't want to make it too thick. So now what we need to do is back in edit mode quickly. We're going to hit A to select everything, and we're going to go G, and we're going to go X, and we're just going to move it all over on the X till it's where its origin point is. So we want the very end of it in our front view to be here where its origin point is. So just right here like that. Tab out of edit mode, and now you can see in object mode, if we rotate it, it's rotating around that origin point. And now we're just going to also give it a curve modifier. And then we're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a Bezier Curve. And with the Bezier Curve active, we're going to tab into edit mode. We're going to hit A to select everything. And we're going to go S, Y, 0 to flatten it out. And then we're going to go to our top view. And we're just going to select this handle here. And we're going to bring that handle, in fact, select the whole thing here. And hit G, X, and just move it over a little bit like this till the first handle here is lining up with its origin point. So you can see this handle here. If I rotate it, that should be where the tip of the pencil is. Tab out of edit mode. Now we select this Bezier curve and we rotate it. You can see it's rotating around that origin point. So now what we can do is we can select the pencil shaving thing, click on the little eyedropper, and we're going to select that Bezier curve. So now if we select this guy here, we go G and we go X and we move it, it's going to move along that curve. Or if we want to now grab the curve here, and in fact, let's just go Alt H to bring back our sharpener. Now we're going to select the actual curve here. And in our top view, we can now go to edit mode of the curve and just select this handle here and just rotate it. And we're just trying to make the curve come out of the sharpener here like that. So I'm just bending the curve. The first point starts here in the inside of the sharpener, right there. And then we can select the second point and we can make that come out like this. We can rotate it and we can also extrude it. So I'm going to extrude this guy and rotate it. And you can make this come out however you want. Wherever you want the pencil shaving to kind of come out and follow this curve, you can extrude it. So for me, I'm just going to do something that looks about like this. Bring that handle in a bit, bring it out, bring this point in here. And I'm going to grab this guy here, rotate it a bit, scale it, and then I'm going to extrude it again by hitting E. Bring it out here, rotate it a bit, and then I'm going to go G, Z, and I'm just going to move it up. Bring it in a bit, rotate it. This is completely up to you. This can be as random as you want it to be. So I'm just going to move that one up. Experiment as much as you want, but you're just extruding the curve. And now, if we select the pencil shaving, and we go G, X, and move it along the X, it's going to deform to that shape there. That's pretty cool. So now all we have to do is pretty much animate it. So at the moment, you can see it's not quite, in fact, let's just quickly do the animation. So let's come over to frame 30. And in frame 30 with the pencil shaving selected, we're going to hit I to insert a location keyframe. And then we're going to go up to frame 150 and we're going to go G, X, and just move it along the X till the whole thing kind of comes out to about there. And then we're going to hit I and we're going to insert a location keyframe. You can move it as much as you want to. I'm just going to go with that for now. And so now if we just select both of these keyframes, we can hit T and make it linear for a start. So now if we go to frame 1 and we hit the spacebar, we can see the animation is going to come out like that, following along the curve. And at any time you can just select the curve if it's not long enough. So just select that Bezier curve and you can just select the handles and just extrude the points to create more, a bit more of a path. So at any time you can come in and edit that. It doesn't really matter. So just something like that should be fine. Edit the points. Yeah, so once you have that done, you can also just go into object mode, and with the pencil shaving selected, you can just enable shade smooth to make it look a little bit better. But now one of the issues we have is we have this whole bit here at the back sticking out. So simple solution is just to simply add in another cutter object. So we're going to go Shift A, add in a cube. And with the cube here, once again, we're just going to go to our object data properties and disable the render. And we're going to go to the display as and make it wire. And we're going to go G and move it over here to the back. And then we're just simply going to tab into edit mode and just grab these back points, G, and move them out. Okay, so make sure you're in wireframe. So grab these back verts and move them out. And all we're trying to do is have that fill in the whole space where that pencil shaving is going to be. So now if we select the pencil shaving, we can go and give it a Boolean, click on the eyedropper and select that cutter object, and now you can see it's gone. So all we have to do now is go into edit mode and just move that face out just to inhabit that whole space there. So wherever we would see that pencil shaving, you won't see it here. So if we move back all the way, you can see it's still a little bit there on the end. So let's just move it up a bit. And now that should be taking care of that issue. So now if we play through our animation, we can see this. And just select this cutter object and hit M and just move it to the cutter collection so it's out of our way like we did before. And now we have this, and now we pretty much have this animation here, the pencil shaving coming out, but it's kind of intersecting there. So all we have to do is select the pencil shaving, tab into edit mode. Then you can go R, X and rotate it on the X a little bit, and then tab out of edit mode. And you should see that fixing itself a little bit. So it's at the right angle now, but all we have to do is just select the curve, and you can just come in here and just edit the Bezier curve as well, just a little bit, to make it all match up a bit more. Okay, so that looks a bit better. So now let's give that a shot. So let's go back on our timeline, and this is what we should see. Cool. So we can always edit that a little bit later, but all we simply have to do now is animate the pencil. So we'll make the hole in a second, so don't worry about that. So let's just quickly come to frame 30. And on frame 30, with our pencil selected, we'll leave it where it is. We're going to hit I and insert a location keyframe. And then we're going to come to frame 0, and we're going to go G, Z, and move it up to about here. And then we're going to hit I and insert a location keyframe. So it's going to come down like this. And then between 30 and 150, we're going to go and hit I and insert another location keyframe. But now what we need to do between 30 and 50 as well is create a rotation. So on frame 30, we're going to hit I and insert a rotation keyframe. And then we're going to come to frame 150. And then we're going to hit N to bring up our properties panel. We're going to go to the item, and while we have that pencil still selected, we're going to come here at 150 to the Z axis. And we're just going to rotate it up into the positive value to about 340. And then we're going to hit I to insert a keyframe. Then we're going to select these two keyframes here, and we're going to hit T and make the animation linear. So now, as it comes down and it starts turning, that pencil shaving should come out like that. Now you can always come here, select the pencil, come to 150, readjust this value here, and then hit I again to make the speed of rotation match the pencil shaving. But for now, that's just what I'm going to go with. And now we can just, in object mode, add in a few more items. So I'm going to go Shift A. I'm going to quickly add in a circle, G, Z to bring it up, S to scale it, and in edit mode, I'm just going to extrude those up. I'm going to go E to extrude, S to scale, just like that, and then E to extrude, Z to bring it down. Now we have that guy there. Tab out of edit mode. Back in object mode, we're just going to give that a bevel modifier. And we're going to just go Control A, apply to scale, and then bring down the bevel amount here, just to give it a slight bevel. Increase the segment count, and then go to object mode and enable shade smooth, just to make that look better. So now we have that hole there. And let's quickly add in a floor. So we're going to go Shift A, add in a floor, scale it up, and then we can go S, X to scale it along the X. And then we're going to tab into edit mode, just select the back edge here. We're going to go E to extrude, Z to bring it up, and then G, Y to move it back. Select this edge and go Control B just to bevel it and roll your middle mouse button. Tab out of edit mode, and now we're going to add in a camera. So we're going to go Shift A, add in a camera, and with your camera active, hit 0 to go into camera view, G, middle mouse button, and just adjust the camera. So I've covered this many times, so I'm not going to go through adjusting the camera, but just place your camera around about here. Some basic settings is you want to go to the camera settings, make the focal length 95. And we're going to go to our output and make the resolution for the X 1080. So now it's 1080 by 1080. And now we can just, adjust the camera accordingly. So I'm just going to put it here, rotate it a bit. Also select the background, the floor, and just give that shade smooth as well. So now we can see this is what we have. So if we go to frame 0, we play the animation, we can see this is what we have. And you can always come here and adjust it if it's not perfect. So like I said, you can come into edit mode with any of these objects and just slightly adjust them if you need to, and move them around. Just try out different things till it all looks right. But just basic like this, it should work. So you can see here I'm having a little bit of issue there. In that case, I can just bring them down the cutter object again. And I can just go into edit mode and just simply adjust that cutter object to fix that issue as well. And that's pretty much it. So that's how I made this animation. So I'm going to just hide the cutter objects. So what we'll do next is we'll actually start working on the materials of this little animation here and also light it up a little bit. But yeah, that's looking pretty cool. One more thing you can do is you select the pencil itself, and after 150 you can come to about 180 and just go G, Z, bring it up again, and then go I and insert a location keyframe. And let's bring the end value to 190, and now we have that animation. It's not loopable, but you could make it loopable if you wanted to. But there we have a pencil sharpener animation. And yeah, so let's do the lighting and materials.